Hi, I'm David.
And I'm Alexa, and we are Folk on the Move.
And this week's video, we thought it'd be fun to tell the story of how we got stuck in sand outside of Joshua Tree National Park, and then how we got unstuck. Stuck in sand being like in the van. We got the van stuck in sand. I got the van stuck in sand. So it's definitely an interesting experience. It's entertaining.
It was quite the ordeal.
Yeah, quite the ordeal. So if you're just looking for entertainment, I think it's a funny story. If you are in a van, then hopefully this helps you to avoid getting stuck in the first place. And if you are currently stuck and you just Googled, how do I get unstuck from sand? Maybe this video will help you out. Yeah.
We are currently in our home state of Minnesota. And so before we begin this video, we want to address some of the current events going on, as well as, just things that have been happening for a really long time. Recently, a young black man was murdered by a white police officer here in Minnesota. His name was Daunte Wright, and he should be here today. This was all kind of in the midst of the George Floyd trial as well. So, Minnesota's kind of been in the spotlight lately, and we want to make it abundantly clear, if you're watching this video, or if you want to be part of this, Folk on the Move community, that Black Lives Matter, and we are very committed to the work of being anti-racist. So if you're watching this, and if you disagree, or if you have questions, or are confused, or whatever, reach out. We would be happy to share resources, or have a conversation, but we are committed to having this be a safe and open space for everyone. So
Absolutely.
All right, so this is how we got stuck, and then how we got unstuck.
It was a nightmare of a day.
Yeah, Valentine's Day, actually.
Yeah.
So what better way to celebrate than get super stuck in sand? We had a disastrous night. We got stuck in the sand.
It was so awful.
So it's like the least romantic day ever. But I still love you.
I still love you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We had just arrived to California. We were so excited. We had come from Arizona, and we wanted to get to the coast so badly to see the ocean. So we drove to the coast, which is not where Joshua Tree is located, by the way. So we decided we would just backtrack and visit Joshua Tree after seeing the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So we arrived to Joshua Tree National Park. It was our first time there. There's a lot of public land right outside of the park where you can stay for free overnight. There's tons of vehicles there. So we pulled up to this area.
When you get off the main road, there's packed gravel road that kind of goes throughout this expanse of open land where people are parked, and you can go off the packed road onto more loose sand, and that's where people will park their vans or vehicles for the night. So that was our plan. We're driving down this packed road and looking for a spot to pull off, and the whole way Alexa is saying that we need to be careful because she's read that it's really easy to get stuck in this sand. And from being from Minnesota, we've never dealt with anything like this before. We're used to getting stuck in snow and navigating snow in a vehicle, but never dealt with sand before. So I was just super overconfident and thought I had the whole situation under control.
And to be fair, a big message in this story is sand is very tricky. It's hard to tell what spots you're gonna get stuck versus what spots are okay to drive on. So anyway, just quick aside.
And maybe if you grew up around sand, you're oh, this, what are you talking about? It's super easy to tell a difference. But for us, having not seen it before, it all looked the same. Anyway, so we found a spot that looked good. We pulled off the main road, and we're driving down this loosely packed path, and it was kind of downhill, so I thought we had plenty of traction, but it was just the momentum of the van. They were just kind of rolling down this hill, and the whole way Alexa was I think we're gonna get stuck. Please stop, please, we gotta get out of here. And I was no, I got this, it's fine. When I finally realized that, I was oh, we are kind of starting to get stuck. I hit the brakes and we lost momentum, and that's when we realized that we were stuck. Pretty
That's
bad.
when David realized.
I realized we were stuck, and I was uh-oh. So I tried to get us out of the situation by pulling off the road to turn around. But in doing that, I got us even more stuck. So the van sunk pretty much up to the belly of the van in sand, because this is another lesson we learned. If you are stuck, don't try to just panic and reverse your way out of it. If you don't have traction, you're not going to suddenly get traction again, you're just gonna dig deeper into the sand. So that's what we did. Dug up to the belly, like I said, where there was no hope of driving out without doing something, getting out and digging or calling a tow truck.
So that night we tried some of the digging method and it just wasn't working. So we're like, let's just call AAA. We can schedule something for the morning. So that's what we did. Next morning we woke up, we're having our coffee, getting ready for AAA to come and save the day. And I got a phone call. And apparently we were too far off of a paved road for it to be covered. So the guy was like, I can come, but it's going to be $500. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, never mind. We're going to figure this out on our own. So we were determined from that point on. We're like, we are going to get out of this
on our own.
At whatever
Blood,
whatever it
tears,
takes, we're going to get out of this
takes.
and not pay that $500.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do when you don't want to spend $500. So
here is the method we used.
So keep in mind, we're working with very little resources. We had a shovel, and that was it. If you have like a tarp or you have like a rubber mat in the van, that would be ideal. We learned that like hindsight, because we actually did have a floor mat, but we didn't think to use it. So our plan was just to, using the shovel, scoop all the loose sand away from the 4 tires, dig 2 trenches behind all the tires so that there was a really clear path for the van to roll onto and to roll out of the loose sand area and to get back onto like the road that was at least decently packed down.
So, we used road loosely. Nothing was paved in this area.
Yeah.
And chances are, if you're getting stuck in sand, that might be the case that you experienced
it's just
that.
Varying degrees of packed sand. So anyway, a big part of it was shoveling tons of sand away from the tires. The other part,
I collected as many big flat rocks and like twigs and little pieces of bush that I could find, because we laid those behind the tires to create kind of a road of sorts, because we wanted the tires to have something to grip onto, and hopefully once it got momentum it would be able to kind of use that as a road.
Yeah.
What we got here, a little trail of rocks and sticks, kind of following the trench. And this is obviously the most important part, the rear wheels, where all the power is going to come from.
Yeah. Ingenious. We felt so clever. And that was our strategy, and it worked. It took all day, and throughout the day we'd have little wins where we'd get the rocks and the sticks set up, all the sand that we moved. We'd turn the car on, back it up, and we'd get like 2 feet or something like that, and then it would stop. And we're like, yes, we did it.
So it got a little ways out. It like started to get some traction, but now we're gonna move the rocks that it kind of slid over in the front, and we're just gonna keep like staggering them back, so hopefully we can just like create a little rock road.
And then we just repeated that process over and over again until the van was finally onto that like sort of packed road, which it was, from there it was easier because it was less sand to move and just less work in general. And our plan was to back out, so actually we'd be backing uphill, which would have been a ton of work for the van and a lot more work for us in general, until we got to the road that was not paved but like really packed, like a very solid road where we knew once we got there we'd be fine. But it was at this point that our saving grace came.
A man who just happened to be going for a walk in the area walked past us, and he was like, "Oh, are you guys stuck?" And we were just like covered in sweat and like dirt, and we were just like, "Yes, we're stuck." And he was like, oh, "Okay, well there is a road here." Like we couldn't really see it because of the bush and just the landscape. It was hard to tell, and it was actually in front of us, kind of at the end of this slope.
Yeah.
How do I describe that? Yeah. So once we realized that, it was way more obvious that we should try to just move forward instead of back our way up this hill. That was huge. If we had not, chatted with this man, we might still be there.
We might still be there, yeah. Yeah, so that, from there, it all happened really fast. We changed our plans, so instead of digging trenches behind the van so we could back it up, we just like started digging in front of it to make a little trail for the van to fall into, and then hopefully get to this road in front of us. And like it was like after we'd done a little bit of that, like put some sticks and rocks down and dug for a bit, and then we were both in the van. I think Alexa was like charging the camera or her phone maybe, and
I was
like,
just like standing in the back, thinking that we still had probably hours of this same process to go.
Hours, because the day was getting on. It was actually getting kind of late. But then I was like, I'm just gonna try it, see if we get another foot forward. But as soon as we started, the tires grabbed on, and we had traction, and we started rolling, and you were like, don't stop, go, go, go. So
it was wild.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're going, we made it. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, don't lose speed. What is happening? I didn't know we were gonna go right now. We just like...
tripod. I'm gonna stop.
Oh, solid. Shoot. Yes, stop. I'll run back.
We tore out of there. We got to the road, turned onto it, and fortunately that road was pretty solid, so we just took it as far as we could. We got to a point where we felt really confident that we weren't going to get stuck again, and collected ourselves, went back to the spot, and picked up all our stuff that we had laying around the van, and that was that. A lot of lessons learned. Number one is listen to Alexa always.
No, I do want to throw out there, this is not only David. I'm sure tons of people have made this mistake. I probably will make this mistake someday, who knows. I just happened to have sand on my radar that day, and it's hard. Sand is really, it's sneaky.
We were fortunate that we had a shovel, so if you are getting into van life, you should have a shovel.
Yeah.
That's like, I think, just get a small one, pack it in your garage. You never know when you're going to need it, if it's snow or sand or I don't know what else,
right.
but something like that.
The method of digging and collecting rocks, sticks, twigs, anything you could find, and creating kind of a mock road, that worked. It worked for us. I'm sure other people have done it, and it's gonna help somebody in the future. Like, it's just, it's a good method to use. There was so much trial and error involved. It's not like right off the bat we were like, oh, this is working. It was a lot of just like motivation and sticking with it until eventually we'd move like a couple inches, and we're like, okay, we just have to do this all day, I guess. So
Right.
It's a lot of work if you get stuck this way, but it's worth a try. It's worth saving that $500.
If there are people around and you're comfortable asking for help, you should ask for help. We were being really stubborn and chose not to ask for help. Like, there were other vans. No one was nearby. Like, it would have been quite a walk to get to the next van. But
totally. We were very like Minnesotan about it. We didn't want to inconvenience anybody, and it was COVID. Like, it was just kind of a weird time. We didn't know how to navigate. We didn't know how to navigate it with COVID and all that. So yes, you should also ask for help. That would be great if you're in that situation and you feel comfortable, because you might save yourself a day of doing what we did.
So during this whole process, Alexa documented it on social media, and a lot of people were really kind and sent helpful tips for next time, or like things we could keep in mind if it happens again. And there were some products that were recommended that we have not purchased yet. We probably will in the future. They're like these like rubber tracks that are like designed for that kind of situation. They're small and they're easy to strap to like the roof of your van or put in your garage. So we'll link those below. Again, we haven't used them, so can't really vouch for them, but it sounds like they are pretty.
They've worked for other people.
They work for other people, so maybe consider investing in those as well as a shovel.
Thank you so much for watching this week's video. We truly hope that you do not find yourself in this situation, but if you do, it happens. Sand happens.
Sand happens. Dumb. I love that.
Consider subscribing, liking, commenting, the whole thing. You know what to do.
See you next week.